I'm going to turn this over to Nick Roche and Josh Burcham. You guys ready? Wreck and rule, guys.
All right. Oh, we're just being left to it? Okay.
Boy, oh boy.
Right.
So.
All right, okay, so I'm Nick Roche. I'm from Ireland. So cheap, such a cheap pop, but I'll take it. So that's me.
Yeah, I'm Josh Burcham, and I'm not from Ireland.
Yeah, not from Ireland! Josh is from Oregon, which is where the Transformers live.
Yeah, that's where they came from.
That's where they came from. That's where they live. Yeah,
It's
their home away from home. Thanks for coming out, guys. I guess you guys came really far, did you? Not as far as I did, because I'm Irish. Woo! Who here has read Sins of the Wreckers? Good. Okay. All right. We will be spoiling Sins of the Wreckers in our talk tonight. Spoiling plot points, but also spoiling your enjoyment of it just by just going on about it. It's just so much. We also, yeah, good. I've seen it. Yeah, I've got one of them.
That's a good book.
I don't have one of the Prowls though. That's good. Yeah. Sins of the Wreckers is a series that came out this year, which was a sequel to a very underread. No one's ever heard of it. Last Stand of the Wreckers. I don't know what happened to half the crew on that one, but I hope they made a career out of it anyway. Bless them. So it's a. And I don't know. I thought maybe there would have been like a moderator on this one. So I don't know where to go with it really. Here's the question of the day: am I going to get my cell phone back? So yeah, I left my cell phone at the departures desk in Dublin when I was leaving, and it was recovered by my wife because she got a phone call from the lady at the departures desk saying, someone left the phone here and this number keeps ringing on it. So my wife has my phone, which means I'm off grid. I'm Jason Bourne. Yeah. So, which means we can talk about Wreckers with impunity because she'll never know about what we say about it now. So I don't know where to go. The sequel was a long time coming, hey? Yeah, it's, yeah. But it's I'm glad there was sort of still an appetite for it. Have you got anything to say about this? You got any apologies to make? You got?
So many.
Yeah, it's
so many.
So it was where to start? I guess one of the reasons for doing Sins of the Wreckers is, because you would need a reason for doing it reason one, I wanted to write Transformers again. It was being made very clear to me by IDW that, we know you want to write Transformers, Nick. Will you do a sequel to Wreckers? I'm like, no, Wreckers is what it is. It's a standalone thing. We couldn't ever top it, until it became clear that I wasn't going to get any more writing work for IDW unless I agreed to do write a Wreckers sequel. So it's like, yeah, I can be bought, I can be sold. So yeah, sure, I can make those characters do something again. I know they're all dead. But the ones that aren't dead, yeah, well, sure, we can put them through the misery ringer yet again. And so what I tried to. The main problem I had with coming back with a second Wreckers is how do you, it wasn't sort of like, how can I, better the drawings or even better the actual quality of the writing necessarily. It was, how do you top Overlord? Because it's, we kind of seem to hit gold with him, and he's kind of what you want in a villain, He's sort of like camp and theatrical and, over the top and sadistic and, it's just massive body count and massive lips to match. And it's, and it was a really bad day for the Wreckers when they met him. So I was trying to think what would the Wreckers like to do least after having a really bad day? What would they, are like, oh yeah, I know, rescue Prowl. So, and it was literally from that, reverse engineering, what if they got the order, sort of like, Prowl's in trouble, and he wants you to rescue him, and why they would have to do, as opposed to just going, you, so it's after 9 p.m, we can mime swear words. And so it was kind of reverse engineered from that then, that I knew that the struggle that the Wreckers would face initially with the mission would be, why are we doing this? And Springer, it would be all about Springer is so kind of duty bound. He's, as we sort of see at the end of Sins of the Wreckers, that he's he's part Autobot, part Wrecker, equal parts. You know, like he's kind of he's had the influence from. But I'm sorry, I'm distracted by an amazing Overlord toy in the front row. Sorry,
I've been staring at it for 10 minutes now.
Shut up. You know, like the Wreckers, they're known for doing these dirty deeds, and you know they're getting their hands, you know, dirty, and then they'll lots of things about the word dirty. But Springer's kind of he's maybe the one that's maybe got a conscience about. He does these things, but he kind of knows the reasons why, and he definitely sort of maybe feels it hangs on his shoulders a little bit heavier than it would for the likes of like Roadbuster or Whirl or those characters. And so a character like him would be duty bound to do this thing that he doesn't want to do. You know, like any of Springer's interactions with Prowl throughout IDW's history have been strained and fraught. You know, like because usually Prowl is manipulating someone that Springer loves. You know, and it's. So that was kind of like the dilemma, and then after that it was basically kind of you have a hole of a villain. There's a villain obviously has taken Prowl, and how do you fill that hole? You know, so I've always just been a fan of like Beast Wars. You know, it's not massively but it's who isn't, you know, like, and if you aren't, you should be. And you know, there's so few kind of G1 raw materials left to kind of mine. You know, we were talking about a little while upstairs about how, you know, the writers are now at this stage are like, who's left that we can kind of put in more than Meets the Eye or Lost Light or Optimus Prime, you know, like, so you're having to sort of pick from other iterations of Transformers. And so I was like, yeah, look, Tarantula seems like a creepy sort of character, but the good thing about with IDW is that he's never, IDW is like, it's Brave New World, isn't it? We're telling Transformers for the first time, essentially. And so a character that you might know from one universe, like Overlord, who is, you know, popular from like Master Force in the Japanese lore, we could kind of do what we want with him. We're not slave to that. You know, even like something like Starsaber from when he's in More Than Meets the Eye, and he's this like kind of arch villain, you know, and he's not Starsaber because we're doing it for the first time, essentially. And so you know, once Tarantulas was picked, then it was also problematic because you're in the shadow of Tarantulas from Beast Wars, who is a good character, who is a villain with like kind of like motives and a strong characterization and that voice. You know, you're going to hear Alec Willow's voice, you know, and it's so you know, he's not necessarily out of character for that. You know, our Tarantulas is not, you know, it doesn't contradict Beast Wars Tarantulas, but he's definitely got his own set of motivations, and it's they're because he just wants to get the band back together. He's Paul McCartney and he misses his John Lennon. Is kind of how I kind of saw it. But John Lennon, as we all know, was a prick. So, and didn't want to get the Beatles back together. So it's I didn't say he wasn't talented or wasn't a genius. Hey, I didn't say he deserved what happened to him either. So that's you putting that into your own sort of like, yeah, that's all you. It's all you. Josh, save me.
I don't know if that's possible.
That's usually, by the way, when I email Josh with the pages, I usually say, "Josh, save me." It's like, fix this.
And I say the same thing.
Yeah. No. Without being patronising, and it's going to be hard. Can I? There should be a massive round of applause for Josh Burcham for the colours on Cinder Directors, because it was. I can't think. I did this at TF Nation as well, just to prove that I do this.
Well, okay, yeah, that's good.
No, but it doesn't look like any other Transformers comic, you know, like, and I mean that in a good way. It's no, but it does, you know, but like it's so much thought goes into your process, and like, you know, you're thinking.
You say that, but
you make it look like there's so much thought goes into it.
Exactly.
But like they're colors that like serve the tone of the story,
right, yeah,
and suit the mood. The really cheery mood, like there's so many bright colors in it. It was
right, yeah.
But like it was like everyone sort of said it, you know, that it felt like they said, you know, nice people said that they could feel the atmosphere in that book, and that it was an unpleasant atmosphere, you know, and it's, you know.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, well done. You completely misunderstood the script.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't read it actually.
Yeah, not me either, to be honest. I definitely didn't read the first one. So yeah. So I guess that's kind of what led us to kind of doing the sequel. It's James was good enough, because James has his own Transformers comic now, that he was sort of good enough to go, look, you know, I sort of said, I'm thinking of doing the Wrecker sequel. I think I want to write this on my own. And he's like, well, yeah, of course you do, because you want to write Transformers comic, and you know, I've got one already, and so you can have your little one. So it's just make it quick though, and get out of here. So that was kind of the thinking behind it. So just in case there's no sort of like, we're doing this without you, Roberts, you know. So it was I did find myself missing him a little bit, you know, because sometimes it was easier just to go, "How you write those pages?" You know. So it's kind of, but it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to sort of have it kind of written and drawn. Sort of, they would say it was 5 issues, sort of written and drawn by me. Yeah, sure, it took ages to come out, but you know, it was had stuff going on, man. So so that's how Wreckers came to be. That's how the actual behind the scenes and thinking kind of came to bring it about. And anyone who's kind of bought the trade sort of sees there's lots of kind of back matter in the back, funnily enough, where we sort of like explained stuff that maybe was going to happen, and about an extra team of wreckers. RC was going to have her own squad of wreckers, and then we realized there's only 20 pages in a comic, and you know, we've only got 5 issues, and you know, I'm not James Robertson. I'm also not Alex Milne, so it's why make life hard on myself twice, you know? So it's and that's one thing when you're a writer artist, you get to write little kind of breaks and gaps and quiet scenes. And say you know you've got a 5-issue series to draw, and you know that it's going to get crunchy. Why not set it in the snow? Just putting out. Why not set it in lots of like white backgrounds and stuff like that? That maybe you don't have to do a huge amount in. You know, why not? Why not have all of the Tarantulas and Prowl scenes in the dark? And that's how you get stuff done. But it's that's the economy of storytelling, yeah.